Hello, SpongicX here. So, the Tangled series, also known as Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, finally came to an end today with an hour and a half finale. And so I guess now would be a good time to talk about the series as a whole, starting with season 3. I've already given a few little thoughts on like what I thought about Tangled season 1 and 2, but so season 3 was a pretty good comeback for the series. Not every episode was perfect, but considering how mixed I was about season 2, like I thought season 2 its premiere was really good, but then most of the episodes felt like filler that went nowhere. I mean, the only really standout moments from the Tangled series for me in season 2 was the opening movie, Beyond the Corona Walls or whatever, Rapunzel and the Great Tree, and of course the finale. So, yeah, other than that, I did not really care for season 2. I thought it was just too much filler. It was very anticlimactic compared to season 1. I thought season 1 had a good starting point and it had a good ending point, and season 2 just really dragged on, but season 3 was a strong comeback. Of course, season 2 left off where Rapunzel's best friend Cassandra betrayed her. She took what was called the Moonstone and absorbed its powers, and so season 3 starts off right where that left off, and we get like a really epic confrontation between Rapunzel and Cassandra. We get like what was one of the best songs in this season, which was Crossing the Line, and it was just a really epic moment. I loved that part, and um, so most of season 3 was about Rapunzel trying to cope with the thought that she just lost her best friend, but she's embracing her life as a future queen now, and which was really interesting development. Season 1, we saw how she was trying to get adjusted to it, but she just wasn't ready for it, and it especially became more problemsome midway through the season when they introduced the first special of the series, Queen for a Day, and that was where the series started to get a little darker, which carried on from each season. But so season 3 had a bit of dark moments as well, but it still had a few of those like comical, kind of filler episodes. Like there were at least 3 episodes this season I really didn't care for. The first one was the one where Red turned into a werewolf. I thought that was incredibly pointless. It was such a predictable episode too. And yeah, I did not care for that one. And then there was the episode Pascal's Dragon. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it felt pointless. I don't really see why they had to include that episode. And then there was the episode The Tale of Two Sisters. I mean, that felt like an incredibly pointless episode. It's trying to bait and tease the audience and think that, oh, Cassandra's gonna go back and rejoin Rapunzel as friends again, but then, of course, the real villain of the series had to mess everything up, so it was just a real frustrating way to end the episode. And then, not to mention, a few episodes later, the second to last episode of the series, they did it again. They made an episode that tried fooling you into thinking Cassandra is gonna try to redeem herself, but then at last minute she ends up becoming worse than ever out of nowhere over a stupid misunderstanding again. So yeah, season 3 did have a few annoying cliches that kept repeating and just dragging the series on, but compared to season 2 though, season 3 was a much better comeback. And as for the finale, oh boy. So, the finale was really good. I really enjoyed it, and it kind of makes me sad that this is the last we'll ever see of the series. So, there might be a few little spoilers here, but I'm gonna try to not get too detailed with this one. I'd rather people see it for themselves. So, the first 2 seasons of Tangled are available on Disney Plus, along with the pilot movie, Tangled Before Ever After, along with the original Tangled movie and its short sequel. I think the short sequel's on there, but anyways, as for season 3, not a single episode is on there yet, and I'm not sure when they're gonna add it, but hopefully it won't take too long, because I'd like to rewatch these episodes again. So season 3 is basically about wrapping up the entire series. So we see how Rapunzel and all the people of Corona are invading the castle after it was taken over by Cassandra and Xantiri. Xantiri, for those who don't know, is like the big villain of the series. They gave like a small introduction to her in season 1 during the episode Queen for a Day, but as the series progressed, especially during season 3, we see her get fully revived, and she is like this evil demonic character, and I think the best way to describe her is take Chernabog from Fantasia and Ursula from The Little Mermaid. If they had a baby, this is what Xanteria would look like. She's like this demonic horned creature with tentacles, and yeah, her final design was actually pretty insane looking, very off-putting from the rest of the stuff you've seen in this show. But Xanteri, her plan all along was to try to get like some kind of eclipse to occur so she can obtain both the Moonstone and the Sun Drop. So at this point in the series, Rapunzel has the Sun Drop while Cassandra has the Moonstone, and so she pitted them against each other in order for them to unite and make it the perfect opportunity for her to take the stones for herself. And so she has like the power of the Sunstone in like one half of her body, and then the power of the Moonstone in the other. And so she becomes like this big demonic evil creature and starts using the death incantation from season 2 to try to kill everyone. And so I'll admit, like, at this point of the episode, I was like, oh shoot, what's gonna happen next? So of course we see Cassandra redeem herself, and I mean it's pretty predictable, but there are still some pretty good surprises though in this. It wasn't perfect though. Like, there was one scene that I thought was absolutely unnecessary in this, and it was the part where they went into this tomb of the character Demanitus. He was like this ancient character that was mentioned and shown in both season 1 and season 2, and he even appears in a flashback during this episode. But so they went into his tomb to try to find the answers to destroying Xanteri, and they found like this book that had like schematics on how to build a device that can suck her into a dimension that will keep her trapped. And so the whole, like, we get like the scene where these monkeys start stealing the book, and then they have to chase them around a bit. Meanwhile, there's some kind of conflict where a character activates a switch that causes their minds to switch around with the monkeys, and it just felt incredibly pointless though. It led to nothing. It was just, filler basically. So I kind of wish they cut that scene out and put something more interesting in its place. And then, not to mention the entire subplot with, like, Eugene and the others. So, it's like, while Rapunzel is trying to confront Cassandra, the others are trying to build this contraption that can, suck Xanteri into, like, this, lost dimension where she'll be trapped forever. But a lot of mishaps go on in the process, and so, in the end, everything gets back to normal, and they're able to activate the machine, but right when they do it, Xanteri gains her full power and destroys the machine, which made that whole point... What made that whole, point of trying to build that contraption wasted. And so, yeah, that's kind of frustrating when they waste so much time, going into something and then just say, screw it at last minute. And yeah, not to mention how the way Rapunzel and Cassandra ended up taking down Xanteri, it felt kind of anticlimactic. There were still, like, epic moments during it though, but I just felt like Xanteri was defeated way too easily. They were just building her up to be like this big threat, and she got taken down way too easily. But so one thing that really frustrated me about this though was I thought like they tried making it look like Cassandra died in the process, and so I thought they should have just let her die in a heroic way. I mean, she did so much damage throughout the series that it just didn't feel likely that anyone could forgive her for that. And so having her die a heroic sacrifice would have been the perfect way to end it. But nope, it has to do with Deus Ex Machina that kind of copies off the ending of the original Tangled. And so, yeah, I felt like they should have just left Cassandra to die, just make it more dramatic and impactful. But other than that, we do, like, after Cassandra gets revived, we do get a pretty good farewell between them, and we get, like, a pretty good reprise of, like, one of the first songs in the series, This Is Life After Happily Ever After, and it was a pretty good way to end the series, but I love how they kind of trolled the audience at the end. So, this series, like, ever since the pilot movie, for the TV show, this whole show is basically leading up to what happened before Rapunzel and Eugene proposed to each other and got married. So, I just loved how, the show almost like tried ending, like leaving audiences confused. So we get like that ending reprise of Life After Happily Ever After. Then we see like the book of Rapunzel like close like a traditional Disney princess movie ending, and so the screen fades to black for a little bit as if the credits are about to come up, but then Eugene mentions, oh yeah, there's like one last thing that happened, and then it shows the proposal itself, and yeah, the proposal was really good. I just loved how they handled it. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it was pretty nostalgic for those who love the first movie, and I thought it was a really good way to handle their proposal. Honestly, I would say it was the best finale I've seen in a show since Gravity Falls. Because I remember, like, last year when I tuned into the Star versus the Forces of Evil finale, I was very underwhelmed by it. I thought it was a mess. It just felt so terrible. And, oh, yeah, that's the best way to end a kid show. End it with genocide. What the heck? And so I thought the Tangled series did a much better job at, wrapping up the series. It gave everyone a conclusion. So, before we see, like, Rapunzel and Eugene get married, it confirms what happened to the other characters as well. And so that was a nice way to wrap up the series. And, not to mention how there were certain scenes in this finale that kind of reminded me of Gravity Falls, because there's like that lost dimension area where a bunch of weird stuff happens, and it kind of reminds me of the realm that Bill Cipher was trapped in before, like when he got everyone out and started causing weird Mageddon. So there are a lot of vibes that kind of reminded me of the finale of Gravity Falls. There were some really weird designs, and not to mention how another similarity this finale had to Gravity Falls was the device they were trying to build to trap Xantiri. It definitely resembled the design of the machine that Stanford built in Gravity Falls Season 2. So I'm not sure if that was intentional, but I couldn't help but just be reminded, like, it looks like Stanford's little arc thing that he built that opened, like, the portal to Bill's world, and I don't know, but it definitely had some hints of, like, Gravity Falls here, but otherwise it was a pretty enjoyable finale, and I'm just glad that, this series was able to get made. So when I first heard they were making a Tangled series, I was so annoyed at first. I thought they were going to ruin the charm of the movie somehow, but overall, I thought it was a very faithful adaptation. It did have a few things that kind of seemed a little too far-fetched, but for the most part, it was a good continuation of the movie, and it somehow tied together perfectly with the short sequel, Tangled Ever After. And so, yeah, like, it's a pretty good series, and I highly recommend you check it out on Disney Plus, but I have no idea how long it'll take before Season 3 gets added, but I really think it was a bad thing on Disney's part to not add new episodes of it as they aired on Disney Plus. So while they're airing new episodes on Disney Channel, they should have been airing new episodes on Disney Plus at the same time. Not to mention, Disney Channel has been doing a terrible job with this show, despite how popular it is. I mean, people who watch it have been praising the show on websites and stuff like that, and I mean, it's got like a decent review score on like TV ratings, so I don't get why Disney Channel ignored this show so badly. It really deserved more attention. It's sad that even Disney Plus isn't giving it much attention. Yes, it has the first 2 seasons, but they aren't really doing anything to help promote it. So yeah, hopefully when DuckTales comes back for new episodes, I hope they don't do the same thing with that. I hope they start airing new episodes alongside Disney Channel. But one thing I'm glad about this show being over, though, is I can finally unsubscribe the Disney Channel YouTube channel. I've only been subscribed to it just to watch preview clips of Tangled for whenever they had like short occasions where they promoted it, but now that they're done, I'm unsubscribing because I'm so tired of seeing the advertisements for all the other shows they have on Disney Channel. They are just so cringy. I am so sick of their live action stuff, and so I guess that's why I'm glad we have Disney Plus now, because Tangled and Gravity Falls were like the only good thing that were on Disney Channel, and now that they're gone, I have no reason to watch Disney Channel again. But at least we got Disney Plus, where it has some good stuff on there, so well, anyways, that's all I really have to say. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.